Hello, how are you today? Did you sleep enough? Did you have breakfast? Did you have time to get home? To get to work? How was your day? Did you do everything you planned? Thank you. Today I'm going to devote the lesson to past continuous and simple past. So, simple past is used when we talk about the past event which took place at a definite point in time. For example, we went to the theatre last night. Shakespeare died in 1616. Did you have a good time on holiday? When did she come? Second, describe past states and habits. For example, I smoked 40 cigarettes a day till I gave up. He lived in Rome for 10 years, but now, not now. Narrate events in sequence or chains of events. We got home, opened the door, and found the house empty. He left the hotel, took a taxi, and drove to the theatre. Report statements and questions. He said that he was a stranger. She asked if I knew her brother. The next is when we tell a story. For instance, there was once a man who lived in a small house in the country. The same as in present indefinite we can use in past indefinite. Thank you. Now I'd like you to learn all this rule by heart. And now I'd like to explain you when we use past continuous. First, talk about something which was in progress at a past time. The action had started, but it had not finished at the time. What were you doing at 6 o'clock last night? I was watching the news on television. The next is when we talk about temporary action in progress in the past. I was living abroad in 1987. It was raining all the night. The next, when we talk about action which were in progress when something else happened. Usually we use with as, just as, when, while. This is a typical marker of past simple. While I was leaving, the phone rang. When she was paying for the petrol, a boy stole her wallet from her car. These are often introduced by conjunctions like when, as, just as, while. But the shorter action can be introduced by when. We were having supper when the phone rang. The next rule is when we talk about action in progress at the same time. While I was reading, John was playing the piano. The next rule is when we give background to an event. For example, I looked out of the window. It was raining. It was a warm summer day. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. One more, when we talk about arrangement in the past. For example, everybody was excited because they were leaving for Paris the next day. The next, when we talk about repeated actions that happen too often. When I worked here, I was always making mistakes. She was constantly breaking the dishes. It's typical for annoying or criticism. There is an element of criticism. So past continuous is also used in polite inquiries. I was wondering if you could give me a lift. Thank you. As you have already understood, all the truths should be learned by heart. Now I'd like to draw your attention, special attention, to the construction used to. I used to do something. We use used to plus infinitive to talk about past habits which are now finished. For example, Robert used to play football when he was younger, but he stopped playing 20 years ago. More example, Kate used to go swimming a lot, but she never goes swimming now. Do you go to the cinema very often? Not now, but I used to. We also use used to for past states and situations which are no longer true. Robert used to be very slim when he was younger. I used to live in London, but I moved in 1980. We only use used to talk about the past. The negative of used to is normally didn't used to or did not used to. I didn't used to live in London. Jack didn't used to go out very often until he met Jill. We also use never used to, etc. You never used to like classical music. We normally form questions with did plus used to. Where did you used to live? Did you used to like classical music? When we talk about past habits, we can also use would. So, I offer you to learn all these rules by heart. And now, I'd like to present you some exercises with using past continuous and simple past. Here is page 37. I'd like you to do it on spot writing in your copybook. Then I read you right variant, right answer with commentary. Let's start commentary. I didn't hear the thunder during the storm last night because I was sleeping. It was beautiful yesterday when we went for a walk in the park. The sun was shining, a cool breeze was blowing. Here was action and progress in the typical past. When there was beautiful yesterday, its point the concrete time. The birds were singing. That's it. My brother and sister were arguing about something when I walked into the room. This action in progress at the moment when one short action happened, when I walked into the room. My brother and sister were arguing. It was an action in progress at the time when I walked into the room. The fourth. I got the package in the mail. When I opened it, I found a surprise. So, first, I got a package in the mail. It's a short action. Then, when we use when short action and other long action can happen. But here is a consequence of chain of events. I got a package in the mail. Then I opened it. Then I found a surprise. Chain of actions. Stanley was climbing the stairs when he tripped and fell. Likely he didn't hurt himself. Stanley was climbing. It was an action in progress when he tripped. Short action and fell. Short action which follows one by one. Luckily he didn't hurt himself. It's hurt. It's a action, short action. While Mrs. Emerson was reading the little boy a story, he fell asleep. So she closed the book and quietly tiptoed out of the room. While we usually use with past continuous. So while Mrs. Emerson was reading, which action in progress? The little boy's story. He fell asleep. Fell asleep short action. And she closed a book. It's a chain of event after he fell asleep and quietly tiptoed. So action chain of events after the boy fell asleep. The seventh. I really enjoyed my vacation last January. We used past simple because it was one action, last January, hint last. While it was snowing in Iowa, the sun was shining in Florida. While it's a marker to use past continuous. And the sun was shining as the action to action in progress in the past. While you were shoveling snow in Iowa, I was lying on the beach in Florida. The same to action in progress in the past. It was my first day of class. I found finally the right room. I found finally its short action in the past. The room was already full of students. To be is a state of use, is a state verb, so we don't use in continuous. On one side of the room, the students were talking busily to each other in Spanish. The other students speaking Japanese, and some were conversation in Arabic. First, when talking, their action in progress in the past. It sounded like the United Nations. Sounded we don't use in continuous because in short action. Some of students, however, were sitting just quietly by themselves. Action and in progress in the past when other people were talking. I chose an empty seat in the last row and sit down. Chose here in a short action and sit down the same. In a few minutes, the teacher walked into the room and all the multilingual conversation stopped. The action, short action, he entered and the next stopped. It's a chain of events. When I arrived, short action, she was having lunch. At the same time when I arrived, she was having lunch in action in progress. She apologized for starting without me, but said that she always lunched at 12:30. It's short actions in the past. He always wore a raincoat and carried an umbrella when he walked to the office. It's her habitual actions, it's her habit. I shared a flat with him when we were students. Two parallel actions. When two parallel actions in the past, we use past simple. He complained. He was always complaining about my untidiness. It's annoying and just a feel of criticism. So we use past continuous, but at the same time we can use past simple. He suddenly realized, which is a short sudden action, that he was traveling the wrong direction. At the time when he short action or was action in progress, he was traveling in the wrong direction. He played the guitar outside the house when someone opened the window. So he was playing the guitar outside the house